Hey there. It's Monday. Happy Monday to you all. March 30th. Um, I think for many of us, it's week three of stay at home. Lovely times, right? So, I haven't done one of these in a couple days. I think it's just because there really isn't a lot going on. So, what was really the point of, attempting to do a daily broadcast? Yes, today I cooked more food and I realized that I have food. Yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on. But no, really though, there's been some work done in the last few days. It's just a matter of trying to just keep things in perspective. It's pretty crazy that we're entering week three of this, and the end isn't in sight, and we're just trying to keep ourselves sane. But I did make a few things that I wanted to talk about. So about an hour from now, I'm going to be heading just about a mile down the road over to the boxing gym. That's probably one of maybe a very, very small handful of places that I know that I can safely go to. And I will be helping with the live Zoom broadcast of my gym's stuff. And this is something that my the gym owner and I have come up with over the last week and a half, just to keep the members, active and still, participating in what we would have been doing at the gym if the gym were open, which obviously has been they've been closed since about 2 weeks ago. So that's been an issue. The only thing though is learn the hard way what Zoom bombing is like. Yeah, and any of you guys don't know what Zoom bombing is like, basically what'll happen is if you hold a Zoom conference and you happen to share the Zoom room ID or the web link to get in, what happens is there are trolls that like to scour the internet for publicly shared Zoom rooms, and they will come in and they will pretty much broadcast really, really awful crap like pornography, and they'll be extremely obnoxious and yelling and screaming random things. Sometimes it can go really racist. It just depends on who's bombing you. And I know that in the whole scheme of things, it was extremely embarrassing when it happened to our broadcast last Tuesday. But it's even worse when it happens to something that is of such utter importance that it had to be done online. And I was actually getting, I had to actually mention this on my GoPro streaming experiment that I had uh, about on the GoPro streaming experiment that I had on Saturday, which actually was kind of a half success. I did have issues with the audio, so I'm actually kind of repeating a few things that I was saying during that broadcast. But it turned out that in terms of Zoom bombing, one of the worst cases of it that I heard of was there was a gentleman at, I believe it was Cal State Long Beach, who was defending his doctoral dissertation and had to do it on Zoom because they couldn't meet on campus. And so we're probably about anywhere from 16 to 20 people participating in this doctoral dissertation, as a spectators or as part of the committee that's supposed to accept, it's supposed to hear this defense, right? Well, apparently these Zoom bombers got in during his doctoral dissertation and managed to not only draw extremely lewd things and show off pornography, but also it turned into a racial attack where the N word, unfortunately, uh, the racism comes stem from the fact that the doctoral candidate is African American, and so a bunch of racist stuff, the N word, the whole thing. It was like absolute trash. And so one of my former professors who from grad school who was part of that committee had to mention it, and it ended up becoming a what do they call those petitions on online, which I did help and sign to try to persuade Zoom to adjust their security settings to try to minimize the chances of this happening. Which these are very bored people, very hateful people who think that this is really funny. And believe it or not, a lot of us use Zoom for business. I mean, yes, some of us use it for pleasure, but a lot of us use it for business. So completely unacceptable that this was even going on. So yeah, Zoom bombing. There's a lot of articles online that provide advice and pointers on how to avoid Zoom bombing. But if it is happening to you, there are some of the things that you can do is not releasing the link to your Zoom conference um, online, like in public for people to see. Other thing too is, and this is something that I'm going to be instituting at today's Zoom workout that we're going to be having over at EXF Boxing is to not release the link to the actual workout until 15 to 30 minutes prior to the actual workout. That's one of our ways that we're going to be curbing this, because unfortunately, when this happened, somebody was broadcasting this on their big screen TV, and they had friends over. Yeah, you can imagine how that turned out. That was pretty nasty. So going back to that GoPro streaming experiment that I did on Saturday, where I took a GoPro and I put it on Pam, my 2011 Kawasaki Versys, and then rode from basically my house to the San Gabriel Valley. I can say that like the video quality was successful, but yes, there was a lot of issues with the sound. And unfortunately, because Pam lacks a decently adequate windshield, I can't really do any voice stuff while I'm riding that particular bike. I think that when I turn back to Eleanor, it'll probably be a lot better. And that's okay. Um, there's nothing I can really do about that. But I did get a lot of compliments about the video. And I think what I'll do, because the video seemed to have been pretty cathartic for people who haven't been able to go out and, ride their motorcycles. And yes, I washed my hands. I'm in my own house, so it's okay. Um, I think I'm going to do those a little bit more often. Obviously, it's cut a little bit. Like, obviously I'm not, revealing like my final destinations or anything like that. But, a little bit of motorcycle cruising could do somebody some good. With my GoPro Hero 5 Black, which is an older GoPro, I have been using an app called Live 4. Now, if you have a newer GoPro, like I think it's a 7, I think it starts with, I think the 7 and the 8 now do this. You can do direct Facebook uploading without having to use a third party app. I think that, they do that. You want a Vulcan 650. I like the Yamaha. Hi, Alan. How you doing? But I do like the Yamaha that you do have. I actually, that's one of the more fun Yamahas. I don't really get to see too many of those. I'm a fan. But then again, I'm a little biased because I have a Yamaha myself. But but yeah, the GoPro streaming thing, I'd be more than happy to do it again. I've noticed that the volume and the quality of my voice only works when I'm not on the freeway. So I have to be like on a road going less than 40 miles an hour for that to work on the Versys. Of course, I have a little bit more allowance on Eleanor because she has a lot better wind protection than the Kawasaki. But anyway, yeah, that's been interesting. And then this week I'm not completely out of work. Um, a few random things happened. So I was awarded 2 additional online classes to teach, one of them starting on Thursday and another one starting in early May. So I'm glad to have a little bit of work through Long Beach City College. But I also found out, too, is that the class that I had tried to save, the Saturday COSA 601 class, apparently was not canceled. So I had to send an email rescinding whatever I said the previous week, and that we're still going to have a lecture on Saturday, which means I actually have to teach on Saturday, which I'm glad for. I'm glad I got the clarification on that, and it was completely a mistake in terms of communication. But yeah, the class I saved is still alive, and I'm going to have to keep teaching. I don't mind at all. It'll be a fun one because I'll be able to put 2 lectures into one. I think this one technically is the last week that I'm supposed to be teaching this class anyway, so I'm good with that. So yeah, I still have some work. It's still nerve-wracking though, because it's nowhere near any level of the income that I need to pay for anything, but here we are. I think nobody can pay right now. I think the current poll saying is that like 60 to 70% of people living in Los Angeles have had their wages compromised due to this whole virus situation. So there has to be some sort of relief coming, because either that or all of us are probably going to be living in cardboard boxes in Santa Monica, and I really hope that's not the case. Anyway, today was interesting. I ended up selling something on eBay and I had to ship it over to the post office. So I decided, you know what, let me go pull my bicycle out, because the post office is less than a mile away, and I figure I could get a little bit of exercise. So I did. Had to reinflate the tires and stuff, and went ahead and did that, and that was pretty interesting. And if any of you guys were watching earlier, I did pull out my roller hockey skates for the first time since 2011. And I'll tell you, having played uh, exclusively, roller hockey, gosh, for maybe at least the first 16 years of playing roller hockey pretty much for the first 16 years of my hockey life. It was really weird to get back on those skates again. You know, Postmates and Uber Eats on the verses. Oh my goodness. Okay, so here's an aside. So Alan posted on the comments about Postmates and things like that. Can I do Postmates? Yes, I can. I've contemplated going back to it, but this whole social distancing thing and trying not to get infected, I'm just kind of straying away from it because going to all of these different places on my bike is just going to expose me to other things that I really should be staying away from. So yes, am I qualified to do Postmates right now? I am active. However, I am not exercising the option right now. I'd rather just, at this point, I'm just going to ride off of whatever the government's giving at this point because I'd rather just stay home at this point. I'm going to just continue and, expanding on other fun things I'd rather be doing anyway. So there's that. But yeah, the roller hockey skates came out. I'm going, gosh, I don't remember it being this difficult to skate on pavement, but apparently it is, or maybe the kind of concrete that I was on. I don't know. But man, I'll tell you, being on ice for so long makes you forget how much extra legwork you had to put in to get moving on rollerblades and roller hockey skates. And considering that the skates that I was wearing, gosh, how old are those things? Those things are at least 20 years old. I mean, ridiculously old. Those are 20-year-old hockey skates, and obviously I didn't grow very much, vertically and was more horizontally in the last 20 years. So those skates still fit. I still have the same shoe size from when I was 15, so we're good. That was actually pretty interesting. The kids across uh, in the house across the driveway from me, they go to Lawndale School District, and they know that I'm a substitute teacher at Hawthorne. So it's just really cute. We were just talking about how they just don't have school anymore, and they were asking me if they were going to have to repeat a grade. And these are smart kids; they're not going to. But at the same time, it just sucks that this is their reality. That one of them is like, yeah, I wasn't able to finish fourth grade, and I go, you know what, you're going to be fine. There's a lot of other grades for you to finish. You're going to be fine. So that was fun. Kids wanted to see me skate because I told them it's like I can skate, and they're like, "Oh, show us!" And I'm going, "Okay, yeah, this is how you not use brakes." Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I think I'm going to work with one of the kids. She's trying to figure out how to skate backwards, so I'll have to show her a thing or two. So that was a lot of fun. Also, yeah. So for the people who responded to my whole thing about playing on Xbox, I did get back on, and yeah, I'm working on trying to not get my ass kicked in Call of Duty. I This is a trial by fire. For many years in playing first person shooters, I have not used a regular controller. I've used the keyboard and mouse the entire time, but I think I'm getting the hang of it. The only problem is I have a tendency of getting shot in the back because they just do that. So, but it was a lot of fun. Actually, one of these particular couple nights ago, I got home really late, and one of my former students was on Xbox. This is one of my students when I first taught high school. This was like 10 plus years ago. Um, yeah, it's that was fun. I ended up staying up until 4 a.m. Like just way past my bedtime, enjoying that. Also, other games that I have that I have also played online live. NHL 20. I do have Grand Theft Auto 5 if that's of interest to anybody. And I am open to some other ones to try. I've been playing some of the free ones. So yeah, if there's any suggestions that you have for Xbox Live, I have a few months with that. So just let me know. Alan, back to the question on any issues of buying firearms and ammo in Los Angeles. Well, uh, I will say that I've not attempted to purchase any firearms in Los Angeles. So I really can't answer that question for you. But as you know, with California, is that if you do choose to purchase a firearm, there is a 10-day waiting period. It's not like any other state where if you go in and you want to purchase a firearm, you get it immediately after you pass dross. California has a 10-day waiting period. So after you fill out the paperwork and everything, you have to wait after they run dross. You have 10 days before you can go back to the store and pick up your firearm. So that's a case. I know this is a very much an aside, but I am responding to people's questions online. Um, The thing though is, I think right now I know that there's a little bit of mixed messages in regards to the order of gun stores closing in Los Angeles. I know that initially the LA County Sheriff, the head sheriff, closed all the stores, and then there was a lot of backlash over it because they were saying that gun stores weren't considered as essential business, and then there was this whole back and forth, and then they said that um, the order got rescinded, and I'm not really sure what's going on. I mean, yes, there's been a lot of people like standing in line to purchase. I myself have not had any reason to do that, so I couldn't really answer your question, but I will say that the demand is significantly higher because there are a lot of people who are concerned for their safety, especially when people start getting cabin fever. I think my biggest concern is not the fact that people have firearms, is the fact that there will be a lot of first time purchasers right now because of the panic. And that's where I'm a little concerned. I'm one of those believers in regardless of anything, even if you're not a firearms person, but regardless of anything, a lot of education, a little bit of education goes a long way. And, you know, um, it's like anything that can cause bodily harm if you don't use it properly. That also includes vehicles. I remember the gas crunch when that was back in 2008, 2009. We know when gas was like stupid expensive, and then there were a lot of people who were purchasing scooters, and many of the people who were purchasing scooters had never ridden a motorcycle before, or didn't have the license, or didn't take the safety course to do it, and there were a lot of injuries in that case. So I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of an issue in regards to that. So I think that, yeah, it's scary, but as in anything, I'm glad though that for a lot of the supermarkets, for example, in terms of panic buying, because ammo is also being panic bought. Um, and to be honest, if you don't have enough ammo for whatever firearm you own, you're not casually shopping well enough. That's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, it's at least the supermarkets are starting to go back to normal. A lot of the panic buying has been reduced, and then, of course, you have the bigger supermarkets like Vaughn's and Kroger slash Ralph's, who are curbing the amount of things that you can purchase, and also, no one is touching the Hispanic supermarkets, and this is the thing. And I'm going to just say this because the small mom and pop supermarkets are the ones where if you need meat, that's where you go. There's no limit on how much you can buy, and there's a crap ton of it, and it's cheap. So, for example, the El Super in Lawndale, where I usually get my groceries and my vegetables, because not only are they cheaper, the vegetables are just bigger in general, and they're better quality because they're like direct, right? Yeah, you go there and you just like see the meat, the pork, and the chicken. It's like full freaking stock. You need meat, you go to El Super. You go to Northgate. Don't don't bother even going to like Vaughn's right now or Ralph's like the normal people do. Okay, go to the Mexican places because seriously, not only will they appreciate your business, most people who are in those supermarkets aren't stupid, and also they have eggs. So yes, and Alan, let's see other questions you have. Price per gallon of fuel in LA. When I filled up last at Costco, the price of regular was at $2.75, $2.75. So that is actually pretty decent for LA. We haven't seen less than 2.99 in ages, and that, of course, in ironic fashion, none of us can really go anywhere, but at least, you know, with my motorcycle, it's going to be okay. So there's that. But yeah, that's pretty much what Monday looks like. It's just another day in the hood at this point, and cooking stuff and trying to stay busy and active, and as much as possible, just to stay safe. I'm just glad that I do have some things going on in my world that are quite nice, and just got to keep it that way for as long as we can. There's nothing we can do in regards to what's going on in the outside world, but there's a lot of things that we can do in the inside world. Also, on a side note, if anybody locally to the South Bay is a big fan of Ensenada Surf and Turf Grill, which is that place that has those really good fish tacos, I did get word that the El Segundo location on Grand is open from 10 to 6 every day this week. So if you need fish tacos, you can get them to go. which is great because for any of the essential employees, like from LAX or any of the police departments, I'm just really glad they'll get their tacos. And also, the Lawndale location will be open tomorrow, which is Tuesday, and the rest of the week. So I did. What happened was Ensenada Surf and Turf El Segundo location posted on Instagram that they were going to be open. So I messaged them. So and I sent a DM to them and said, "Hey, is Lawndale going to be open?" And they were telling me that Lawndale will be open tomorrow. So if you guys need fish tacos, and I really hope if those guys go out of business, that is one of the signs of the apocalypse. I'm still on the search for a burrito. I have been delaying my burrito acquisition for at least the last 4 days, but I am going to acquire my Baja's burrito because I do miss it severely. But yes, so for all you fish taco people down here in the South Bay, get your fish tacos, support their business. Actually, you know what? If you have a favorite restaurant that you like and you want to make sure that they don't close down anytime soon, please support takeout. Get takeout. I mean, we can only cook so much during the week, and I'm starting to miss my normalcy of my fish tacos and my burritos. I'm going to make sure that I do give them a little bit of business. So there's that. But anyway, that is Monday. That's what we're doing. It's about 5 o'clock, and I have a workout at starting 6:30. Like I said, if anybody is interested in getting any sort of uh, Zoom workout, I might be able to slip the link to you. If you're curious. Aside from that, I hope all is well today. Take it easy. I'm kind of doing a little bit of work and a little bit of recreation at the same time. I'm just glad that I can still skate. So there's that. I need ice. We need our ice back. We need our ice sheets back. The rinks need to reopen. So do what you can. Flatten the curve. Let's get this crap out of here. Easter outside is canceled. The bunny needs to stay in the holes. Can't do much. Yeah, we got this. So until next time, be good. I'll have another episode in the next few days.